Happy Tuesday, everybody. Sports guy Chris coming back at ya. We finally have some stuff to talk about in the world of sports, guys. NFL free agency hit yesterday, and it hit hard. Man, we had some big things happening yesterday. In fact, the actual signings weren't even the big news yesterday. It was the trade. So a couple of things I want to touch on. There's a whole lot to jump into with NFL free agency, but today I'm going to focus on the two big trades from yesterday, and then I'm going to talk about a big announcement from a certain one Tom Brady this morning on Twitter that I'm sure everybody is talking about. So let's jump right into it, guys, on this beautiful Tuesday morning. And I'm going to start right away with the announcement this morning. Of course, Tom Brady put out a nice long farewell, if you will, to the New England fans and the Patriots, state of Massachusetts in general. So it appears Tom is moving on. There was a lot of speculation, of course. Would Brady be back with the Patriots? I think the overwhelming feeling out there was still that he would be back. But with today's, this morning's announcement, it is official. Tom's going to be moving on, which makes it interesting, to speculate where he's going to end up. I was always with the group or the mindset, if you will, of the Chargers being the favorite to land Tom Brady, being in California, being the fact that they are going to share the new, shiny, state-of-the-art stadium that's set to open in Inglewood this year with the Rams. Tom's a little Hollywood. That plays in perfect. He would be opening up that stadium. The Chargers have weapons. They are just a year removed from a 12-4 season where, many thought they could have made the Super Bowl. Last year they were riddled with injuries. Phillip Rivers did not play well, turned the ball over a lot. They had holdouts at the beginning of the year. Their best lineman was hurt. But you look at that team, they've got a running back, they've got receivers, they've got one of the better tight ends in the NFL in Hunter Henry. They've got some great, young, exciting talent on defense. And they're in a division that is there. The Chiefs, of course, are the defending champs, but, the Raiders are still, trying to rebuild, figuring out what they're doing. Of course, they're in a big move to Las Vegas, and then you have the Broncos still trying to, regroup and get back to where they were a few years ago, the Super Bowl. So you look at it, I think that is the fit that makes the most sense. I know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are all in on Tom Brady as well. They're intriguing, of course. When you look at the talent they have offensively, could you imagine Tom Brady throwing the football to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and then with the tight ends they have there, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, oh my goodness, boy. I tell you what, that would be fun to watch. I just cannot see Tom wearing those ugly Buccaneers uniforms. Sorry, Tampa fans, but you can go back to those creamsicle things from the 70s and 80s. Those are better. Either way, I just don't see Tom wearing that uniform. I'd love to see him with that talent. Don't get me wrong. I think it would be great. And if you're looking at a division that is there for the taking, I mean, Carolina is in a complete rebuild. There's a lot of, changing of the guard going on there. Is Cam Newton going to be back? We've got a new coach there for the first time in forever. The Falcons are making big moves. Devontae Freeman is gone, of course. Their tight end, Austin Hooper, signed with the Browns yesterday. So a lot going on with the Falcons. And then you look at, of course, the Saints. They're still pretty good. But again, they're having some turnover there as well. So if you look from a perspective of a division that's there for the taking, Tampa, with Tom Brady at quarterback, I would say would end up being the favorite to win that division, even over a New Orleans team that's stacked offensively. So you look at where is Tom going to end up. I still don't think the Raiders are out. I know they went and got Mariota yesterday to supposedly back up Derek Carr, but, let's be honest, John Gruden would love to have Tom Brady, and I think the Raiders would love to have Tom Brady opening up that stadium. So that's the big news today. I still think he's going to end up with the Chargers, so we'll see. What does it mean for the AFC East? Hey, it means right now Dolphins fans, Bills fans, and Jets fans are dancing in the street for the first time in 20 years because somebody else is going to be a favorite to win the AFC East. Legit, guys, for the first time in 2 decades. And that team, the Buffalo Bills, they were in the playoffs last year, and Buffalo is already making moves. They look like they are going to be the team to beat going into this year. Of course, the Patriots lost 2 of their key defensive players yesterday, signing with other teams. Kyle Van Noy jumped down to the Kyle Van Noy jumped down to the Dolphins to join them, of course. So, and Jamie Collins left as well, but probably their best pass rusher to join the Lions. So big changes there. You look at the Bills, speaking of them, they landed one of the big trades from yesterday. They were able to get Stephon Diggs from the Vikings. Of course, the Vikings gave Kirk Cousins an extension. Diggs tweeted out time for a change, and he was rewarded late last night with that change. He's headed to Buffalo to join John Brown and company there in the receiving corps. Buffalo, I really like what they've done so far this offseason already. I like where the Bills are going. So you look at what happened there, a first, fourth, and sixth. Is what the Bills gave up, and they got a seventh and Diggs in return. So essentially, you can throw out those later draft picks. It's a crapshoot. It's basically a first for Diggs. I think a good move for both teams. So, Diggs, I think, is wanted out of Minnesota. It's obvious since the beginning of last year. That brings me to the final thing I want to touch on, and that is I'm joining in the majority out there. What in the heck is Bill O'Brien doing down there in Houston? He essentially traded DeAndre Hopkins, one of the 2 or 3 best receivers on the planet, a guy who is extremely good at his craft, for a second-round draft pick. A second-round draft pick, guys. Come on, what are you doing? And, David Johnson, I get it. The Texans really, really want a running back. You got Deshaun Watson, though. You've got one of the best young quarterbacks, 2 or 3 young quarterbacks, along with Patty Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. I don't get the trade. I know most people don't, but you look at Bill O'Brien, he's had a track record of this. Before last season, they traded 2 firsts and a second rounder for Laramie Tunsil. Good trade. Tunsil is one of the better, tackles in the league, but they still haven't paid him. So essentially, you gave up a bunch of draft picks for a guy you're not even locking up yet. So, I'll be honest here. Houston has been horribly inconsistent the entire time under Bill O'Brien. You can go through their season schedules and take a look, and it's just been inconsistent. Yes, they make the playoffs, but they cannot win a playoff game to save their life. I don't know about this one. This could really have, I think, some repercussions in the locker room there as well. So, not exactly sure, just with everybody else out there, what Bill O'Brien was doing. But the big news today, of course, some of the breaking stuff with free agency. Sports guy Chris wrapping it up here for Tuesday. Don't forget to subscribe. Give me a little thumbs up below. Check me out on Instagram and Score'em. Happy Tuesday.